Shavkat Rakmonov, probably my favorite undefeated prospect so far. I actually prefer Shavkat just a little bit over Ilya Topuria. I know Ilya's a little bit more marketable, but there's something about Shavkat that's just really entertaining to me. And yes, no, people have gone in my comment sections whenever I've done other episodes of Nightmare matchups for Islam Makhachev, saying that I am overhyping, I am glazing Shavkat Rakmonov. So you said, you know what? I'm going to find some people that I believe would either give him a very tough fight, because as much as I do believe Shavkat Rakmonov is going to be one of the better up-and-coming fighters right now, and a future champion, I do believe there are fighters that people either aren't giving enough credit towards, or people that I do believe are going to give him a very tough fight in the future. Other people that he is coming up with, I think are going to give him a tough fight. And in this video, I am going to be going through all fighters that I believe he'll be fighting within the next 5 matchups, or people that he's ranked next to. And I'm going to tell you how I believe these fights are going to play out, whether it's a free win, all the way up to it is a straight-up nightmare matchup that I can see him losing, and my justifications for any of these. Now, if you have a fighter you want me to do, put it in the comment section below, and subscribe and hit the bell. I do a community post just about every other day, holding a poll for the next fighter that's going to be on here. I've given up on a criteria. I'll just put a fighter up. You guys can vote. It used to be just champions. Now I'm doing prospects. Whatever's entertaining, I'll do it. And with that out of the way, let's get started. We're going to start with Gilbert Burns. Now, yes, I'm aware. Gilbert Burns and Shavkat Rakmonov train together. They're probably not going to fight each other. But guess what? That doesn't make for an entertaining video. So we are going to be covering Gilbert Burns. Okay. I like Gilbert. Gilbert Burns is fighting this weekend. He has the Jack Dilla Atlanta fight hasn't happened yet, so some of you are probably going to be watching this fight in the future. I'm thinking Jack Dilla Atlanta is going to be Gilbert Burns. I think Jack Dilla Atlanta is actually a dark horse of this division, and I think he's going to be earning a lot of respect in the future because he is an entertaining personality. We'll get to more to Jack Dilla Atlanta when we get there, but all I'm going to say is I do believe Jack Dilla Atlanta is going to beat Gilbert Burns. I like Gilbert, don't get me wrong, but I should make a whole dedicated video over the difference of black belts in MMA. The best example I have ever heard for explaining this is Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, and Gilbert Burns are all black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I can tell you firsthand that there is a very different... There's purple belts that will smoke 90% of black belts. That's a real thing. Like, in Jiu-Jitsu, they've kind of learned not to really go off belts anymore. It's more of just how good you are. Charles Oliveira is the best at leveraging his Jiu-Jitsu to win and get finishes. Dustin Poirier, he uses it not to get submitted, and Gilbert Burns uses it because nobody wants to try to TKO the dude when you're just going to get triangled from the oblivion down below. That's one reason he did good in the Khamzat Chimaev fight. However, I will say this, Shavkat Rakmonov has shockingly good grappling. Now, yeah, part of that is training. He's training with Gilbert, and I guarantee you, Gilbert submitted him in training. But I'm going to be honest with you, I would be kind of surprised if all the rounds that Gilbert's done with Shavkat Rakmonov, and Shavkat Rakmonov hasn't... I think Shavkat's outstriking Gilbert Burns. I think Gilbert outpowers him, but I would favor somebody who's better technique-wise than somebody who's better power-wise. I like Gilbert Burns. He's actually probably my top 5 most favorite fighters in the UFC. He has decent power and good jiu-jitsu. That's pretty much it. Other than that, I'm going to have to put Gilbert Burns. I'm going to put top of mid to low tough. We'll see where we go from there, but I'm going to say Gilbert Burns is going to be a top of mid fight. I just think Shavkat Rakmonov has a good style, very well-rounded athlete, and I think he'll be able to, where he won't... Gilbert Burns doesn't do a great job of leveraging his jiu-jitsu offensively, and if it's going to be a striking match, I do favor Shavkat Rakmonov. And for anybody who's going to say, well, what about Neil Magny? Neil Magny will go from being one of the most beatable welterweights in the rankings to the guy that fraud-checked Mike Mallet. Okay? Like, Neil Magny becomes a different fighter when he's about to lose the ranking. That's all I'm going to say. But Gilbert Burns goes in top of mid or low tough. Bilal Muhammad. I know I'm going to get clowned for this, but I actually... Listen. Bilal Muhammad is deceivingly good. He's just not entertaining as a person. I'm I might put him in low tough. Low tough. I think he would be a tougher fight for Shavkat Rakmonov than Gilbert Burns, just because I believe Bilal Muhammad just seems like a very frustrating person to fight. And in all fairness, he did TKO Sean Brady. Sean Brady, I guess, wasn't the best striker, but Brady is a... Those guys coming out of Philadelphia are legitimate, like those are tough people. Bilal Muhammad did beat Gilbert Burns, but Gilbert Burns was coming off an injury. Okay, yeah. Now I see. I'm still thinking on this one. I'm going to put him there because I feel like Bilal... Like, I joke on his name, too. I think Bilal is next for the title. I think Bilal Muhammad... He was getting fucked up by Leon, though. Okay, yeah, no. Fuck it. I'm moving him down. The Leon fight, I'm sorry. I understand that ended in a no contest, but I have a feeling if Leon Edwards is going... Like, Leon Edwards is good. Really good. Champion. Okay. Shavkat Rakmonov is going to be able to piece you up damn near the same way. But one thing that Shavkat Rakmonov is really good at, as I've said it before, he reminds me of, like, the prime Diaz brothers, when they will keep you at range with a 1-2, but once they get in, they're going to tie up and do a clinch and then separate on an elbow or a knee. But Shavkat Rakmonov comes from the Kazakhstani wrestling utilizes a lot of trips. And some people that aren't, used to that type of wrestling, you can fuck somebody up with trips. If they're not looking for it, bro, you will get some trips on people. So I actually think Shavkat would beat Bilal Muhammad. I think Bilal might be able to get a unanimous decision, but yeah. Sean Brady, I believe, has the grappling to be competitive, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to put him in easy. He's not quite a free win, but I'm going to say Sean Brady would probably be an easy fight for Shavkat Rakmonov. He's just too well-rounded, dude. Like, that's what I like about Shavkat. It's the fact that it's not that he's doing anything particularly great, but he's doing everything pretty fucking good. Like, grappling's on point, striking's on point. Like, he's fun to watch, utilizes the clinch, utilizes trips very well. Brady has great grappling. Like, people are going to say, oh, well, it's boring. Dog, he was manhandling Michael Chiesa and Calvin Gastelum. Calvin Gastelum came down from 185. Down to 170. I'm going to give Sean Brady is a great grappler, probably one of the better grapplers in that division. I would like to see Sean Brady versus Gilbert Burns. That's the fight that I think you should make. If Gilbert ended up losing to Jack Della Maddalena, that's the fight that I think you should make. But yeah, no, I'm going to put him in easy, that being said. Neil Magny, free win. Respectfully, the only way that I saw Neil Magny winning this fight is if he was about to lose his ranking. Because I swear, Neil Magny, about to lose his ranking, is a new mythical fighter. Like, he completely changes the entirety of his identity to become a better fighter. Like, Neil Magny versus Mike Mallet. Neil Magny versus Ian Gary. You see what I'm saying? Jack Della Maddalena. Jack Della Maddalena, I actually think his boxing is so good. Like, it really is. Like, I think Jack Della Maddalena is going to be the dark horse of this division. And I do believe he's slightly more well-rounded. Like, I think this fight's close, okay? I'm going to put Jack Della Maddalena right now middle of mid. Just because I do believe Jack Della beats Gilbert. He's not quite a tough fight yet. I need to see a little bit more out of Jack Della Maddalena in the grappling department. But his striking is superb. Like, I think striking-wise, Jack Della Maddalena would be able to beat out Shavkat Rakmonov inside the pocket. Now, I think kicks, I'm going to favor Shavkat. Clinch is 50-50, because if you're good in the pocket, you might be able to box out of it like Jack Della Maddalena did. But watch Jack Della Maddalena versus Kevin Holland. I do believe Jack Della Maddalena would do very well in the striking department against Shavkat. It's the grappling that I favor Shavkat, and because I haven't seen a lot of Jack Della Maddalena grappling, I'm going to have to put him in middle mid. Kevin Holland, top of easy. It depends. Kevin Holland, I feel like Kevin Holland is, I believe, better than he think he is. What do I mean by that? Because Kevin Holland will go from, like, I'm going to be honest with you, championship level talent, like insanely good, to he quit halfway through the Jack Della Maddalena fight because Jack was beating him where he was good at. And I believe Kevin Holland could have won that fight if he just put his foot on the gas in the third round. Like, that's the problem that I have. I mean, if we're going to look at a fight that he had with Santiago Ponzinibbio, he did very well. I think he's going to do well against Michael Venom Page. I'm going to favor Kevin Holland just because I'm more of a Kevin Holland fan, and I think Venom Page is in the later half. But Kevin Holland, I feel like he's a better athlete than he thinks he is. Does that make sense? Like, I think if he pushed himself just a little bit more, got a little bit more of that dog in him, he would be a motherfucker. But yeah, no, I got to put you at easy, dude. I'm sorry. Colby Covington. Dude. I legitimately might have to put him below Kevin Holland. The Leon Edwards performance was so outrageously bad. And I know somebody's going to say, oh, ring rust. Okay, I get it. That's a factor. What are we doing? Leon Edwards got a double leg on you, dude. Like, I'm going to be real with you. Shavkat Rakmonov, like, and then he was complaining. It's like, well, I broke my foot in the opening minutes of the first round. It's just like, yeah, Leon broke your foot in the first round. Like, I hate that excuse so much. Khamzat Chimaev had the same thing against Kamaru Usman. I broke my hand in the first round against Kamaru Usman. So you threw a bad punch and you hit his forehead. So you fucked up. That's what I'm hearing right now. I hate those excuses. If it's in a training camp and you're going into a fight, all fair. All fair. That's a fair excuse to make. But if you break your foot, if you break your hand, dislocate your shoulder, in a fight, that's on you. That's not on anybody else. It's a combat sport. You get hurt. Okay. That's a whole separate tangent, but that's actually one of my biggest pet peeves. And a fighter will do that, I will go immediately from them being a fan favorite to, oh my lord, I can't take him anymore. But I think Colby Covington would lose to Shavkat Rakmonov. Shavkat Rakmonov, low kick, going into the clinch. If Colby Covington can't get a body lock to a double leg, if he can't get him down, then bro. Like, the one thing is that Shavkat Rakmonov was getting clipped by Jeff Neal, but Jeff Neal has crazy power and Shavkat was eating it. But I'm going to say, I think Colby Covington's going to get effed up, man. There's just no other way to say it. I'm sorry. Next up, Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman would be a very tough fight. I'm just going to say that. Oh, there's somebody missing from here. I'm going to add him in. I can't believe I forgot him. Because I saved the photo and everything. Ian Machado Gary. I got to put him in this video. Boom. All right. Oops. Boom. Yeah, no, I can't believe I almost forgot Ian Gary. Okay, let's do Ian Gary really quick, and then I'll go back to explaining Kamaru Usman. Ian Gary, below Gilbert Burns. I just don't think Ian Gary has the grappling to contend with Shavkat. I think the striking is a lot closer than people thinks it is. The one thing that I will say that Ian Gary could be able to win, he might be able to get a unanimous or a split decision just because he's so rangy and he's so good at utilizing reins. I would favor Ian Gary at reins. In the pocket, in the clinch, in the grappling, in the jiu-jitsu, in the wrestling, I favor Shavkat Rakmonov. Simple as that. Low mid. Back to Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman, I understand he's over the hill. But Kamaru Usman is a tough fight just because he is such a big dude for 170. He has crazy power for 170. Jeff Neal was clipping Shavkat Rakmonov. I think if Kamaru Usman's able to clip you, that could be a big problem. It's just a matter of how bad those knees are. Like, I can also see a scenario where Shavkat Rakmonov is just going to be doing oblique kick, leg kick. Like, Shavkat could make this difficult for him. And then the moment... Like, I could see a scenario where Shavkat Rakmonov is able to get a takedown. Like, that's how good Shavkat is off the clinch. But I'm going to say Kamaru Usman, middle tough. Leon Edwards? Just because I had to put somebody in Nightmare, I would actually put Leon Edwards in our Nightmare just because striking, he can contend with Shavkat Rakmonov. The wrestling, I'm 50-50 on now. After the Kamaru Usman fight, the third one, I would have leaned in Leon Edwards being the top of Nightmare. Now he's just entry level. because of the Colby Covington fight. Colby Covington, being sloppy in the later rounds of that fight, was taking down and taking advantage of the mistakes of Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards also puts his back to the cage. He'll expose his back, and you can get rear naked choked off there. That's one reason why I do believe even Khamzat Chimaev would have beaten Leon Edwards. Styles make fights. Khamzat has a great style to beat somebody like Leon Edwards, and I think Shavkat Rakmonov, not quite to the degree of Khamzat, but I think striking-wise, everything's very close. Leon Edwards, I can see winning, though. Islam Makhachev, I'm going to put him... I would actually put... This is a fight that I'm really looking forward to seeing in the future. Kazakhstan versus Dagestan. This would be a great fight. Islam Makhachev, I just think he's extremely well-rounded. Probably one of the best, or the best Dagestani fighter currently on the roster. This is the only fight that I would actually... Do I favor Islam here? I need to see a few more fights out of Islam Makhachev. Because Islam Makhachev was having trouble moving around Volkanovski. And I understand Volkanovski is a big guy for 145. And probably semi-big for 155. But this is 170. Shavkat's pretty big for 170. And I think that might be a pretty big difference here. This is another one I'm very 50-50 on. But I think Islam Makhachev would put up a better fight than Leon Edwards just because the wrestling is more... Like, I favor the wrestling in Islam. Striking, I favor Shavkat. Clinching, I'm 50-50 on. Experience, Islam. Like, you see what I'm saying here. And finally, Khamzat Chimaev. I'm going to put him bottom of tough just because his first round presser is absolutely insane. Like, here's the thing. I do believe Khamzat Chimaev could catch anybody in the middleweight, welterweight division in the first round. I think he can beat anybody in the first round. But if they get out of the first round, I think a lot of people can beat him. Let alone a 5-round fight. If this is a 5-round fight, if it was a 5-round fight between him and Kamaru Usman, I would have favored Kamaru. You see what I'm saying? This is a fight that I believe was made at one point. Correct me in the comment section. I believe it was made at one point, but then this was during the time of, the lockdown era, and a certain somebody had the COVID. Yeah, that was part of it. I might be wrong on that, but I do remember Shavkat Rakmonov versus Khamzat Chimaev was a fight that was being talked about at some point. Who I believe would have won? I would have said Khamzat Chimaev. Now I'm probably going to favor Shavkat Rakmonov. More well-rounded, better cardio. Khamzat has trouble in cardio, dude. I know people make excuses like, oh, it's because of this, because of that, because of this. It's like, listen, there's only so many excuses I can allow you before we have to accept the cardio probably isn't that good on the guy. But there you go. The two nightmares, I'm going to put Leon Edwards and Islam Makhachev. Islam's going to be number top. For tough matchups, Kamaru Usman and Khamzat Chimaev, and everybody else is going to be mid and below. The only free win, honestly, would probably be Neil Magny. But there you go. I think I did pretty good. You tell me what you think about this video. I'm going to try to get 2 out today, and we're going to be talking about Ryan Garcia. We're going to be having fun today. But hey, tell me what you think about this episode of Nightmare Matchups. What's a fighter you want to see next? Leave it in the comment section below. And thank you all for watching. Adios, guys.